And so I want to know what yours are, the tire line. Think about that. So if I'm right here, water, oh crap. It occurred to me that if we can remain in a state of not being dead, we can continue to ride. It all is attained and maintained and sustained by the mindset that you have while you're riding. And I'm going to share some of my little tips with you, and they really work. I'm just curious to see if I'm the only weirdo who thinks of them that way. You do have muscle memory, and you do have a way that you understand the hazards and the circumstances around you in traffic, and you respond to them in certain ways. And a while back I started paying attention to those things, and I began to identify them and realize that I use them constantly, and they become purely muscle memory, really. And so I want to know what yours are. I want you to watch mine and see, like, if you identify certain ways that you ride and certain reactions that you have to whatever the conditions are, and identify mine and see if you use them. If you do not use them, you are welcome to use my not dead card tricks, and just identify some of yours and note them so that honestly, you can share them. Ah! Oh crap! It probably just we all work together and everybody stays safe. Then it becomes a better day on two wheels, so in a better era on two wheels and a better life on two wheels. So right now I'm driving behind this car, right? This black Audi. I ride, and you should always ride the tire line. Think about that. So if I'm right here, and I can't see in front of this car, anything could come over that car that driver opted to straddle. So when I'm riding behind a car, I get in their tire line. If I have to switch lanes or favor the other lane, I go to the other tire. And that's vital, because man, you could, if you're going down the highway and you see these retreads, they're huge and they're heavy and they're absolutely dangerous, and a 2x4, anything, man, could cause just catastrophic accident. And if you're, behind a semi or something like that, especially, they'll straddle some big stuff, run just headlong into a deer carcass. Not only is it safer to avoid objects in the road, but it's also, you're less likely then to run into any oil slicks or any of the residual oils that have leaked out of a car. I don't have names for these, it's just the John Travolta Staying Alive mix, I was going to wear a disco shirt, but I'm getting a little too old for that. Next, head on a swivel. Head on a swivel. I try not to do it as much when I'm moto vlogging like this, because it's annoying and took some getting used to. But normally when I ride, it would look more like this. Just always looking around, because what happens is your brain is just taking in information. You're evaluating things. You're seeing cars that are potentially approaching from a side lane, or anybody driving erratically, or just any sort of obstacle. Full on Linda Blair it, just whip it around, because there is no such thing as a red light. There's no such thing as a stop sign. There's no such thing as a green light. And that is actually the next tip. One time I was going through somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Me and a buddy were crossing country on KLR. It's like, I don't know, 12 years ago. The second he went through it, garbage disposal truck, those monsters, it just flew through the red light in the opposing direction at like, I don't know, probably 60 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. It was hauling, and he never even saw it. So there's no such thing. So every time you have a green light, or you have no stop sign or any indication you have to stop, just slow down a little bit, pay super close attention, and you will increase your probability of survival. So here's another one. There's no such thing as a mirror for changing lanes. The mirrors are for, and this is in my Staying Alive set of set of gems, set of rhinestones. I don't even know where the heck I'm going. I'm just going. You never change lanes trusting a mirror. They're just not reliable enough. They're just not something that offer enough scope of the view to trust your life with. So you can use them to, you know, familiarize yourself with the circumstances that you're up against in any given moment, you know, just kind of peeking here and peeking there. But if you are going to take a radical change in your position, such as a lane change, turn your head, turn it all the way and look. And I'm really good about it, but on the way out to Texas from Florida, I was exhausted and I didn't look one time. I just checked my mirror and my neck was hurting. You know how it is if your head's been fighting the wind all day. And I just went to change lanes, and man, the moment I went over, a Suburban came just flying by like 90, you know, and it was on the interstate. And that could have been the end of me, but I just happened to catch it. Force of habit, kind of went like that at the last second and saw it. And so that's, you know, that's another reason why it's good to be cognizant of a certain set of skills that you use, so they can become habits, and so they can actually become muscle memories. You know, like that probably saved my life, that little tick glance. Next, blindside. Don't get blindsided, or don't get in somebody's blind side, however you want to look at it. You get in somebody's blind side, you get blindsided. And that is this right here. I never, ever ride right here. It's a death wish, because you're adding a circumstance that you lose some control over. That guy can't see you, right? So you always need plenty of room to react. And so when you set yourself up for a circumstance where you're going to have to react to somebody on the road, you lose a certain maneuverability and a mobility in whatever measures you would reflexively take to, you know, not be run over and smashed, and of course end up in a state of not dead. I think that's right. So whenever I'm in a position like this with this guy right here, I'll just go ahead and I go wide a little bit, and then I get where he can see me. And that is a really important thing, because I've seen people get run off the road, and if you're not paying attention, man, that's cream of wheat time, you know. Next, this is kind of a funny one. I do this thing instinctively where I'll move a lot, move my body a lot, like when I'm in a bunch of cars. It just makes people be less complacent. They're like, look at this jackass, you know, look at this jackhole. What's he doing? Has he got ants in his pants? You know, when you make note of it like that, you command your hula hoop of safety. You know, you make sure people see you. You have certain lines that you take. You just drive very defensively. And I don't know if you've ever gone down at any speed, but it's perfectly brutal when you go down. The speed with which you hit the ground and the ferocity of the impact is just like, wow, man, that is sincerely no joke. So don't be complacent. And so the mentality that I use is, it's kind of silly, but it really works. You have to look at all the traffic in order to stay safe. I have to look at all the traffic like the people are trying to get me. I look at it like, hey, I'm a remora, these cars are sharks, and yeah, we can all coexist and get along, and everybody gets where they're going. But if they could if there's an opportunity arises for them to reach over and bite me, they will. And so when I view it that way, I'm always kind of on the defensive and the offensive to remain in positions that won't allow them to make me not dead, or make me not dead. So the big point to staying safe is just the mentality that you ride with. All right, and the last of the the philosophies and manners and mindsets of riding that I'm going to share today is the, we call it Mojo. And Mojo means when you got it, you got it. And you know that feeling like you're out and you feel unstoppable, right? So you're like, you're going faster, or you're riding better than ever, and you're on a trail, or you're even on the highway, whatever it is, twisties, and you just know that you know that you know that you have it. We call that Mojo. And then there's times where you go out and you're like, is this, you know, a motorcycle? Like, have I done this? Is that the clutch? Which one's the clutch? You know, and not that extreme, I'm exaggerating, but you understand what I mean, where you don't have your mojo on, you don't have the flow, you don't have, and what I do in that situation is listen to it. I don't push my envelope when I have a deficit of mojo. I've been with people riding doing a certain set of twisties or something, and they be like, man, you ride like that, you're gonna get killed up at the top. I say, no, if you ride like that, you're gonna get killed. I definitely tone it down when I don't feel comfortable in the terrain, the motorcycle, the situation, my physical condition. If I may have an inner ear infection I didn't know about, so just something doesn't feel right. If you have that feeling, just hang back. You know, don't ride aggressively. And even, you know, especially like city riding too, if you're not making quick decisions and you realize something's off, it is off, you know, and that's okay. You'll ride again if you pay attention to that. If you don't pay attention to that and your ego gets the best of you and you just get out there and raise Cain anyway, you may end up getting kicked out of the Not Dead Club, you know what I'm saying? That is the final tip. If you got some, put them in the comments. I'd love to read them. I need them. I want to have this video be one of these that sticks around, and you know, in the comments people can maybe pick up some very unique tips and tricks, you know, hopefully maybe sharing it that way that I did. They aren't common techniques, and I don't know if they have a name. I'm not formally trained as a rider. I've just been doing it since I was a little baby. If there are names for some of these techniques that I'm doing, let me know, because I do not know. I just know that I do them, and I teach my family to do them, and there's a bunch more, but those were kind of some really crucial ones that are really close and really effective in helping a person stay a member of the Not Dead Club. So if you have some, share them. Thanks so much, you guys, all the support of this channel. We started having a lot of fun with these videos, and it kind of caught on, and that's just really cool. And I just want to thank everybody, because the stuff that comes for us from these videos, we've gotten sponsors and things like that, and it's making it possible for us to try to heal our family, and it just means the world to us. And we honestly and truly, we don't take any of it for granted, because we know that life is wonderful, but we also know that it can be very hard at times, and seasons come and seasons go. So if you're in a season of hurting, hold on, man, hold on. I'm telling you, you're there to learn something, you're there to grow in a certain way, and it's okay. And if you need to talk to somebody, you call me. I got lifted up too, so no shame in that. And if you're in a place of being up, go help somebody down, and it matters probably more than anything. That's it. Story Moto out.